Hello, Natroners, and welcome back to another episode of VFX with Natron. Today, we're going to be looking at the issues we ran into with the last episode, which was technically, this is a take two of this. The last episode being where we started making we ran into some issues with the Chromakey, where the Chromakey was not outputting what we wanted in order to merge it at a later point with other elements that we had used on our key. So that raises the question, it made it very difficult. It wasn't impossible, but I didn't want to have to try and deal with it at that point in time, because there can be, depending on the node, I hadn't troubleshooted it at that point, so I didn't want to go through it live at that point. I felt it is a thing we need to talk about, and talk about a thing called canning. Canning is this concept where if you have two things, two elements that create a that could be individual things. For example, in the case of Chromakey, you have the keyer, which removes or creates the alpha channel that is going to be used to composite and do things with. And then you have your despiller. And your despiller, the whole purpose of the despiller is if there is reflections, green reflections, or green bits from the Chromakey, or if it's a green screen Chromakey, if the green bits come through, or in blue it would be blue bits come through. In any case, if the bits come through, what the despill does is it takes that color and it turns it to a gray, and that is the whole purpose behind that, is so that you don't wind up with green glowy bits around the edge that don't fit anything in the environment that they're being put into. It's better to neutralize them, and then you do the reverse of what's called, you have despilling, which is removing it, and then or removing the green, or the reflected green, and then you replace it with the actual background, which is called light wrapping. And we did that as well, a little bit of that, but we didn't quite get to the point where it was all technically functioning perfectly. And part of it is that we got hung up on this. Anyway, I've been talking too long. Let's go over into Natron. Over here in Natron, we can see I've already got Natron set up with a Chromakey node, and basically our image from the last time, or our subject from the last time. Let's chat. I believe it's I looked this up, and I think it's Letschat6, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but I think I kept saying 9 or 6. Anyway, so alright, so here's the result. I've already got the key set up because I wanted to discuss. This is what we're seeing here. There's some things that are hidden from us. This looks like a great key when we initially look at it, and that's because two things are happening here. First of all, it is doing a pretty good key, but it's also doing despill, and the despill is making this look a lot better than it actually is. And the reason we know that is if we go over to the alpha channel, this is the alpha channel, and all this back here is garbage that is in our alpha channel, but it isn't showing up in our color channels. And the reason it's not showing up is because, as I said, the whole point of despilling is to make it look black, or to neutralize the color so it's not green or blue, or in this case it's sort of a half and half, because if we go back to our original image and we go and we look at the green channel, we can see that we have the background is in the green channel and it's also in the blue channel, which is not ideal. But anyway, the other thing is that if we look at our Chromakey node, we also see that the colors in her dress or shirt or whatever this is are very different from, in fact, let's do a side by side. I'm going to hit 2, select the original image, hit 2 over here, and then we're going to do something that I meant to talk about in my quick tips video, which was about the W key, If you hit the W, if you have two inputs, and you hit W, you can switch between them. And so here we can see on the left side on our number is our number 2. This is the second input, and this is the first input over here. And we could reverse them by just switching them around. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, we can drag this back and forth so we can compare and contrast what happened before to what happened after. It makes it a lot easier to troubleshoot issues, especially when it comes to minor color variances and things like that. And what we can see, let's pull our wipe control down here, and we can see here that what this is doing is because, all right, so here we actually have, right here we have spill happening. This background is actually spilling onto her blue dress, and because there's bluish green into it, it's making this a lot lighter around the edge of her body or her side. And so when when Natron's despilling it, or the Chromakey node is despilling it, it's neutralizing all of what is considered that spill color from her dress right here. So, but the problem is as we can see when we get to this point, well, it's also despilling out the actual green bits of her dress that we want to actually keep. So this is it's being over anxious about getting that stuff. So let's undo that for a minute, and let's get rid of the second input and just focus on the first input here. And let's look at this in a better way. Let us put a background into this, because then we're going to actually see how it composites inside of the Chromakey node over something else. So what we're going to do is just take a solid, and we're going to set the solid. We're going to take the background input of the Chromakey node, put it onto the solid, and just set the solid up to, whoops, not 0.0. We want 0.5, and there we go. Now we can see it. So this is what the Chromakey node is doing internally. And there's a lot of things here. We want to do this. We want to see it this way for several reasons. Because ideally, what we want out of the Chromakey node, if we merge this after this point, we want what we merge after this to look the exact same as what we see right here. But we want to get those separate components. And the three components that we need the color information, the original color information, we need the despill, and we need the alpha channel. All right, those are the three bits. Now, the alpha channel is easy because we have the alpha channel right here in the Chromakey node right here. This is the alpha channel. And this is what we were trying to modify last time, but we were having a problem because I couldn't get the despill separated, or wasn't working the way I had expected. And anyway, so let's look at what I mean by that, because this is going to show off the problems we're going to run into, and what the limitations, and why canning, bad canning, this is what I consider bad canning. Bad canning is when they're supposed to combine, when these multiple nodes, the despill and the Chromakey or the Kia, get merged into a single node, and don't produce the desired results, or give you access to the things. And I'm going to show you that we don't have direct access out of that. And that is what I consider bad. All right. And I don't like it when things are canned and they don't work, or they don't provide what you need to successfully key it completely. And I'm going to show you what I mean by completely as well, because we can get it sort of semi-functional out of this. Anyway, all right. Let's put a merge node out of this. In fact, we want to take this, because B is our background. We're going to connect that up to our gray. If we take our A and we take a Chromakey and we put it on top of this, the first thing we see is we say, uh-oh, there's a problem here. The first problem that we're seeing is actually not really a problem. It's what we're going to do is, because we don't actually want the last time excuse me. The reason this suddenly got all blown out is because we're actually double applying the background onto this. So we're going to actually, because we want to keep a reference of our original, we're going to connect the back, make a copy of our Chromakey and just set it off to the side over here so that we can look at that and then look at our result. And right now, as this is, it looks like it's working. Great, we have a successful composite of the Chromakey after it. Or do we? Because the whole reason we want to pull it away is because we want to be able to separate the alpha channel and remerge things and remerge it at a later point. So that's the only reason you want to. Otherwise, you know, if you only need one Chromakey node, that probably means your key is perfect and you don't have a problem. But we don't have a perfect key. So this is when it's important that we can deconstruct this Chromakey node. And so, all right, we have our alpha. We have everything is going into this, or technically should, in theory, be coming out of this, with the exception of our in fact, one thing I am going to do right now, just to save myself a little bit of hassle, is I want to put a dot node right there so that I'm not constantly having bits coming off of it. It'll just organize this a little bit better. All right, so we're going to put this over to the side. So we have, I said we had our alpha coming out of here. So if I say, all right, well, here's my color node, this is all my color, my alpha, and my dispel is all coming out of there. All I should have to do to apply the alpha is put a dot node over here, connect it up like that, and then take my mask, because this is how I would normally think to apply my alpha channel. And as soon as I do, we notice that it changed. And hopefully people remember this. This is what we just saw, is what happened from we ran into this problem in back when we made our fire. If anybody remembers the fire episode where we made Natron burn, we actually used this very thing that's happening here. We're double pre-multiplying. We're applying the same thing, the same alpha channel twice. And how is that happening? Well, why and how it's happening is simple. Over here on the A, we have an alpha channel. If we didn't have an alpha channel, we can tell because we go over to it and we just select it and we go A and we see there's an alpha channel. There's more than white. If it were white, it wouldn't be a pre-multiplied alpha, wouldn't be an alpha channel, wouldn't be acting incorrectly. So the first thought is, oh, okay, well, we're applying it twice, so obviously to fix the problem, the first thought, how do you fix it? Well, we could remove this alpha channel, right? That's the first thing that a lot of people say, aha, we'll just remove it. How do you remove it? Well, you put a shuffle node in there. So we'll put a shuffle node in there. Whoop, and it didn't put it, connected to the wrong thing. Oh, let's put that there, connect that there, put that up there. All right, let's remove that and go back over to our shuffle node here. And all we have to do to remove the alpha is to simply say that instead of having the alpha be alpha, we set it to 1. And now it's a solid alpha channel. So now we don't have, this is usually what most people's logic is, we don't have it applying twice. But I'm hoping some people are going, wait a minute, Pirate Bill, we've got a problem here. And I'm hoping there's at least a couple clever people who said, hey, that's not going to work. And indeed, it isn't going to work. Let's see what the difference is. If we go back up here and when we switch between these two, if it looks the same, then it worked. If it doesn't look the same, we've got a problem. And as we can see, when we go back and forth, we've got a problem. What happened here? Well, the problem is that what's going out of our shuffle node is pre-multiplied. How do I know? Well, if we go up to it's black. Black means if it were pre-multiplied, it would look like this, or some variant of this, with enough extra room for our alpha channel to operate on. And I can hear some people's gears turning, and they're saying to themselves, aha, the way we want to do it is to unpre-multiply it. We could put an unpre-mult before this and then fix it, right? Well, here's the thing. The Chromakey node actually has the ability to unpre-multiply. So if we go output instead of composite, which is the composite of it, it's designed so that it's taking the background and superimposing it with all the green screen and everything, and D-spell, excuse me, not green screen, the D-spell alpha and everything done all inside of this one node, you would output the composite, but we don't. We want to take the and get the not pre-multiplied, but the unpre-multiplied. So we're going to say, we unpre-multiply it here. So when we go back over here, now it looks different. Let's see how that changed it. We went from the composite, we could go to the pre-multiplied, which is exactly the same. Remember I said it, the output, the composite output, because there's nothing going into the background, is basically the same as the pre-multiplied. But if we go to unpre-multiplied, we're seeing something here that should be making a lot of people cringe, because it makes me cringe. This really is upsetting. So what we're seeing here is that the Chromakey node is being destructive. When I talked about in my episode about talking about alpha channels, I talked about how straight alpha channels or unpre-multiplied alpha channels are supposed to be unaltered or untouched by, whatever. You don't modify it with the alpha channel. You don't adjust it. But Natron has this issue that once it's been pre-multiplied, once something is transformed into a pre-multiply, it throws away all that extra data. And truth be told, because this is designed, although I would wish, personally, if I were designing this myself, I would have set it up so that it output an unpre-mult version of this without destroying any of this extra data around here. And what these white bits represent is those are holes in our alpha channel. Why? Because there's the background or the Chromakey node doesn't have anything there. So what's happening is it's just replacing it with white for the time being, because it makes it more visible. It makes it, it makes everything. That's what it perceives it. Anyway, so what is the end result of this butchery that we're seeing over here? Well, we get something that almost looks right, but doesn't. Let's look at it over here. Can we see, does it look the same? It looks in a lot of ways much, much, much better. Here, if we see now, let's just for a second switch this back and forth. If we go to the, whoops, what did that, that's weird. Huh. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Or here, this is what we wanted. All right, here. If we go to the composite mode, we can see that there's a big old hole right here on her shoulder. This is going to give us nightmarish issues if we were to deal with this in this current state. What we want to do is get back, or when we go to the unpre-multiplied, we can see it resolves that. It brings it back so that we get that shoulder back, that shoulder information and shoulder color back, which is good. That's very good in a lot of ways. But we have problems. Those areas that were white, as I said, turned into holes. We can see right here, these little patches here, which are, if we look at the original where it isn't destroying that alpha channel or destroying the color channels, we can see this is what it should be, and this is what it's giving us, because it's doing a destructive process, or it's applying a destructive process to the image. So we're not getting what we want. That means this is a useless node to us. It's useless in its current state. This means, this is why scanning can be really bad, and this is why it is a bad node. It doesn't give us what we need. There's no way inside of the node itself to do it. So we have to fix it on our own. Can we do this? Sure, of course we can. We have everything we need. Or, well, in theory, we have everything we need. Let's switch this back. Let me just make sure. I just want to make sure. We're going to go back and set this our thing back to composite. All right. And why are we setting it back to composite? Because, well, we want to take this result here, which is the same as pre-multiplied. It doesn't matter whether we could see, if you want to be truly safe, you could set it to pre-multiplied. But what we need to do is we need to take the result of that, and let's move our viewer node off to the side here. We're going to put a merge node right over here to the right, and we're going to take the result of this. Let's take this down like so, like that. Let's make that nice and neat, because I want to ultimately pull this back. We're going to package this up at the end for everybody to have access to. We're going to take this, the output right at this point, and we're going to put that into B. All right. So that's going to be our background. Then what we're going to do is take our original image. Wait a minute. Am I doing the right thing? No, I'll take it back. We want to take our original image, this image. We want to use this as our background because this is our source. This is our original image. Sorry about that. And actually, I want to connect up there. So it's like that. And then what we want to do is take the A and connect the A to the result of our Chromakey. So we can see that on top of it. Except for we're not going to be, and you saw it modified it. What it's doing currently is layering the Chromakey on top of it. But we don't care about that alpha channel. What we really want to do is we want to subtract the Chromakey result, this, from this. And subtraction is called, in Natron, is called from. So we just go, when you subtract A from B. So we find from, and we do that, and that right there is our dispel mask, and or our dispel image, or at least as much of a dispel image as we can derive from this. And you're saying to yourself, well, are you sure about that? Power build, that doesn't look quite right to me. You know what? I think we can do. We might be able to do one level better. I think we may be able to. I'm just curious. If we take this, it is set to 1. I'm just curious. If we take the output there, nope, it's the same result. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right. So it doesn't matter. This is what we're going to wind up with as our this is our dispel, and we're going to take and put a dot out of this, and we're going to label this because I want to make it clear where everything is coming from and what everything is, because it's really not that hard what we just did. We've separated it. So we're going to do a dot node. We're actually going to put this down here. I want to bring this up like that and connect this in here, like so. All right. So what are our branches? Well, this is our color. This is our original image. So we're going to hit tab. We're going to type in backdrop, and we're going to call this a note. We're going to call this note 1. And we're going to, right here, we're going to call this, this is going to be called color, or colored, base color, original, or color source. Okay. And then we're going to just do return and hit a bunch of little dashes, and then we're going to say, this is the original color image. Okay, and then we're going to, whoa, that got wonky and weird. Didn't want that to happen like that, but let's just go like that. And shrink it down. Something that's too wordy. This is the color. How about that? We'll just call it color image. There we go. One line. It's a little hard to see it over here. I'm going to move it down. And we're going to make that, you know, post-it note yellow so that it's readable. And we want to make it readable. Put a dot here inside of it and link it up to that point. So that is where our color information comes from. All right. So that's where we will get anything we want to do to the color would happen over here. So if we want to adjust a color, and truth be told, we probably would want to do color adjustments before we do or before we do anything else. So it's debatable. Color corrections and stuff we might want to do potentially before we do, well, anyway, before we do our D-spill and so forth. So this is our D-spill. So we want to hit a period after this, and we want to duplicate our node and just put it over here. And we're going to knock this one. Just double click it. Change that from note 1 to note 1_2 to note 2. And then we're going to call this D-spill. D-spill. All right. And this is our D-spill. That's really difficult, as if saying it wasn't the D-spill. All right, wouldn't tell us. All right, so there's our D-spill. Let's get that so it's a little smaller and neater. And so that all that leaves left for us to work with is the alpha channel. Now, we said that there was a problem back here with our alpha. That our alpha that's coming out at this point is not the same. We're not getting the same thing. And actually, there are a lot of ways we could fix this. But because we're working with pre-multiplication, the problem we run into is that really, because this is pre-multiplied, we're not going to wind up with the same thing no matter what we do here. The reason this looks different than this is because this, even after we've applied one, is we're still applying a mask going in here, is assuming what's coming in from up here is a straight image, and we aren't going to have a straight image, or at least, well, we may not have a straight image. So what we need really, our D-spill is going to be working off of a pre-multiplied, or we're probably going to be working off of pre-multiplication. So we need to bring our alpha channel in as a pre-multiplied thing. So how do we do that? Well, it's simple. We don't want to bring it in at the mask point. What we would actually want to do over here is bring it in here into the A channel so that it comes in with it, and we replace the alpha channel here with the alpha channel from A, so that we could treat the alpha channel separately. And this will make sense. Let me show you what I mean here. So if we go to change this from being the B being the source of the alpha channel, we change it to A being the source of the alpha channel, we can see that it hasn't changed the image. The image here is the exact same as the image here, except that we have access to doing one other thing. And actually, you know what? I'm just realizing, I'm questioning this. I think we may run into some issues if well, we'll see. Let's do a little bit of alpha manipulation here. So we're going to be, there's another reason we need to separate it, is because this also has, doing it this way right here, we still haven't separated. Right now we've separated our alpha and remerged our alpha with this, but we haven't separated our chroma and our B, which it has basically both the D-spill mask and the color mask, and it's D-spilled wrong, because if we look at B, if we look at this, we can see we're lacking our green. So that's why we have to separate it, is we need the separate color so that we can get back that information. And we can't do that over here. Well, that's why this branch over here, we built this here to separate the two. This is so that we can merge the two back together. Now, you're saying to yourself, well, this separated, but how, Bill, do we pull it back together so that it becomes the original image like this? So this is our alpha. We're getting our alpha back, and we can see that this is reconstructed our alpha properly. And we're getting, the interesting thing about this is we've salvaged actually we have salvaged our image. We no longer have those holes in it as well, which makes this actually a better method for getting our result out of this, which is good. And I'm going to just to show that we can manipulate the alpha here separately. We're going to put a grade node here, and we're going to tell it to apply to the alpha. And we're also going to tell it, in the past we added a clamp node. We're going to clamp it right inside the node itself and remove the grade node from affecting it. This way we're minimizing it. I want to try and keep this as just clean and simple so that we can see what we're after. So as we can see now, I can change. Right now I'm changing that alpha channel. And we're retaining our color information so that what we see here, we wind up, this is what we started with, this is what we get at the end of the result of this grade node. And we could use, by upping our black point, we can eliminate those bits. Oops, that's too high. We actually have to go higher. We need to go up. We need to go up to a point where that's, probably should have gotten rid of them. Let's just, like, right there. That would be where I would say, so 6 would be where you would do it, and then you bring this back down, and, you get it up somewhere in there. And this, again, this alpha channel is a horrible alpha channel. This is almost completely unusable for these purposes, and we can't salvage our greens in it, and it's just a mess. This is a mess. I just am showing this to show you that we have isolated the alpha channel at this point. If we come out here like this is just alpha isolation. But what this tells us about this, actually, I didn't want to get rid of, didn't want to do that. What this has done is this has told us that this branch right here can operate as our alpha channel, because that's what we're already doing with it. So this is technically our alpha if we want this alpha. And we may want part of it or to use this alpha, but I have a feeling, given how it's responding here and what we had to do, I actually don't think we're going to use this alpha. We're going to do something else. But I just wanted to let you know so that we can label it. All right. So this is going to be our third one, and we're going to call this alpha. All right. And this is our alpha channel. All right. And we're going to call that note 3 and make it posty note yellow. All right. There we go. Post-it note. Oh, it's giving me lip. Oh, don't give me lip. Oh, I need to get that little dongle-y-do. There we go. We can hook it up there. All right, so now we've got it. We've got our post-it note. We're going to put that, I don't know. That's awfully wordy. You know what? We're going to just get rid of that. I know it's redundant. It says alpha. This is our alpha, as if you couldn't figure that out just from the fact that it says alpha. But it's just so that we can see it. I might remove these extra bits of text. It really is. It's redundant, silliness. But anyway. All right, so that's our alpha right there. That comes down. We can use that to grade it, separate it, whatever we want. And then we could merge it back in. That means also that we're going to need a shuffle node just like this one. In fact, let's just, for the sake of this, copy that node. And we're going to use, because I want the original ones off to be part of a main graph, we'll just take that and that there, and then connect A up to that. So it's back the way it was. And then this one here is going to be our, what we're going to be using to do our actual result. We're going to actually probably pull it out of that grade, or we may branch it off on our own. You know what? I'm just, because I don't know that we want to use that particular grade, we're going to just put that over here so that we can treat it off on its own somewhere. All right. And this is where we bring it back. This is the point, by the way, where we merge it back. So from this point here down to this shuffle node is where the alpha lies, because A is where the merger of these two are going to come back in. All right. So I've been dawdling about getting this. How do we get our remerge our D-spill with our color channel so that we get a result that works? Well, that's easy. We're selecting this node right here, this dot, and we're gonna just hit tab and put in a merge. Actually, we don't have to. We can just do a merge. So M. So we take that, we put the A in here, like so. We've separated it here. And remember, the whole reason we're separating it is so that we can apply this over our color channel and have them have this so that anything we do to our color channel, or any modifications we make to it, because we're going to be doing, we want to do things to our color channel before we remerge the D-spill over it. We're going to be modifying the background. That is needed. That has to happen. And if you do it with the D-spill applied, then you won't be able to get the D-spill from one thing that you've manipulated to match the D-spill from another thing. D-spill is one of the last things that happens, but it happens after you've done everything to you, knocking out and manipulating the background and getting your pre-multiplied source up to the point that, or excuse me, unpre-multiplied image up to the point that it needs to be, all right, for its alpha. And honestly, I'm going to tell us right now, I already know because I've done this a couple times, that with this alpha channel here, whoops, wait a minute, where'd it go? Why am I not seeing the alpha here? Oh, wait a minute, no. Yeah, no. Alpha's supposed to be A, I think. Right. A is supposed to be. There we go. Sorry, we had the wrong thing connected. It should have been A coming out of there. So here's our alpha. All right. So our alpha here. This is not why are we going to use it? There's just so much garbage in here. We'd have to clean up all that when we actually have a better source for generating our alpha already existing. So, all right, back over here to this merge node over here. We're going to go over here. I've been doling. And how do we get it? We simply take this merge node and we tell it that we want to get the difference. And when we tell it that we want the difference between the two, this right here should look the same as this right over here. Do they look the same? The answer is yes. So, and we need to zoom in, because here's the thing. This is where the things can get wonky. If you do the wrong thing, like if we said, let's try, if we did like from, let's do a from, let's subtract and reverse the two. We could say, you know, it's like B from A, like that. This could, some people might say that looks correct, doesn't it? You would think it may look correct, but this is actually incorrect. This is not. There's actually color shifts happening down here in the darker areas, because you do not want to do a from. You do not want to subtract the other from the you do not want to subtract it like that. You want to, wait a minute, you know what, we want that, it doesn't matter. What we really want to do is switch this so that we get the difference of the two. Where is the difference? There we go. When we get swifted to difference, I don't know if you could see it. It was probably very subtle. Anyway, difference will give us, it doesn't matter which way we do it, because difference just gives us the difference between the two, which should be this what the we subtracted from the original one. All right, over here. So this gives us a perfect mask, a perfect despill, or perfect remerger of our despill over it. And so what we put into this is going to determine how this all composites. Because this, I hope, no, it does have a mask. All right. This, what we don't want is we want to modify this so that, let's remove the B channel. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we want the difference. There we go. That one. Now if I go like that, oh, it's still, nope, nope. Ah, there we go. That's actually, well, that's not what we want. We're going to be, it doesn't matter. We're going to be replacing, ultimately this. Oh, right. No. Well, let me think about this. Yes. We want to apply the despill on top of the other one. So despill, we want what comes into this mask over here to apply to our upper channel, which is this. And we're going to actually, we probably want to remove at this point all the output of that. Let me just see something here. If I go A, yeah, there we go. I don't want this to actually, we want to turn off the, in fact, here, this might work better. We never, oh, it doesn't give us the option. Nope, never mind. We got to just uncheck it. All right, we could, what I was hoping is we could just do tell it to output RGB, but it won't do it. So we just disable the alpha on the output of this from merge node. And what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of the alpha channel altogether, because we actually don't want the alpha channel from this to come out. And what we'll see over here in our final node over here is that we don't have this. That means our entire thing is black because, well, we're subtracting one from it. And actually we might be, oh, wait a minute. Whoops. We want the difference. It's this one. There we go. We didn't want to subtract anything from it. We want it to just be white. So there we go. So we disabled it. It's just, you could put a shuffle node anyhow, any way you get it. We just want to eliminate the alpha from it so that, let me just think about that. Is that the best way to do this? Yes, it is. I think it doesn't matter which one we use. The key thing is the reason that we have to turn off one of these is that if you have two white alpha channels and you get the difference of them, the difference between 1 and 1 is 1, and so it removes it, and the result is 0. So we got to remove one of the two alpha channels as long as they're 1. All right, so that's what that's doing. So. All right, we've got our different channels now. So how can we use this? How can we do something better with this than we did before? And as I said, I really don't want to use this alpha channel over here because we have this right here. The result of this coming up. Whoops. Actually, the result of this even right here is beautiful. We've got something that has lots of bright colors. Very much like what we did when we deconstructed and built our own alpha channel. We have something we can build an alpha channel with. So what we really want is to get something that can give us a luminance key. And I'm going to cheat. Why am I going to cheat? Well, there is a Lumakia, and that comes with Natron, and there's other Lumakias. But the Lumakia, the part of the point behind doing this was to show what you could do with the default nodes. And I don't really like the Lumakia node. It's a real pain. It's interesting, but it's a pain to work with, especially for what I'm after here. I think it's going to be just easier to use, of all things, a desaturate or a saturation node. Why is a saturation? Oh. Not saturation, saturation. There we go. So we take the saturation node and we remove all saturation from this. It doesn't really matter because all I'm interested in is getting that nice alpha, and I want to, oh, this nice grayscale here. Well, let's just look at this. Ooh, I actually think I like average better. All right, so I'm gonna average. How about max? Max. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. We have this beautiful image here that we can use. This is even better. We've made this into something that we can use as an alpha channel, and this is so much nicer than what the alpha channel that the Kia node was giving us. So for the sakes of this, we're gonna just end time. What is our time? It's, whoa, we're running a bit long. We're gonna just pull this down. In fact, we're gonna do a little shortcut. We're gonna take a lift down a smidge here. And one of the things I don't like is this over here. What's happening over here on her left side is this is called halation. Halation is when there's something that's when light bounces or comes past something beyond a certain level, it starts to cause the things to irradiate and glow. And what's happening is this part of her sleeve is so bright, and that the lights from her left side, that's her left, are bouncing off very, very, very brightly because she's overexposed, and this is likewise overexposed, which is causing this to glow like a light source, or almost like a reflective light source, and we're getting a halation artifact, which is a type of a color bleed. And we're going to just try and remove that, because I really don't like it there, and it really is going to cause issues. So we're going to just keep we're going to tweak this around a little bit and drop this down till that halation is gone. But of course that made our whole image a lot darker, which means that we need to adjust things. Maybe we will bring this back up. You know what? Let's bring that, wait a minute, let's bring that back up like that, and then try and bring our black level up instead and white level down. And we're getting something like this. Oops. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I'm using the wrong thing. I want to bring this down, sorry. Oh, wait a minute. No. Wrong thing. I want to bring this down. There we go. Way down. All right, we've got something that's, you know, very, very overdone. We've got our alpha. It's overdone. This is an alpha though that we can sort of almost live with. In fact, let's just, for the sake of this, let's see what is our original alpha. Look at that alpha, and wait a minute. Oh, we don't. This isn't applying to the alpha. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, we want to apply that to the alpha as well. And right down here, I think I want to use a shuffle node to take the result of our colors, and we're putting the shuffle node in here to take. Remember, we want back here. We don't want the alpha channel. We want, because this is the alpha channel, which we don't want. That's the old alpha channel. This is what we want as our new alpha channel for this. So we're going to take this. And we're going to say that is, we're going to say that is, wait a minute, is BR. All right. So now when we go to the A, it's that. All right. And then we're going to just remove this for a second. I want to look at, wait a minute, did I? Oh, I did that. Sorry. I made a mistake. It was supposed to happen after the grade. There we go. There we go. And we want to clamp that grade. It's the same thing as adding a clamp. Clamp both of them so it doesn't, you know, our color channels are all gone at this point. But it doesn't matter. With this is perfect. We have it. So this is got it. This is all B. This is one channel. And we take the, let's look at our alphas. Here's alpha 1 alpha. and here's another alpha. Look at those two. Between those two, we may be able to construct a pretty good alpha channel, I think. Maybe. Let's merge those two. I actually think I like that. So we are going to use this, which I didn't think we would, but we are. We're going to just take that, put that on top of it, and we wind up with that, which is that's a pretty darn good mask right there for working with, or at least for our initial mask. Now, what we need to do is, obviously, we did this before. We took this and we did the first thing we need to do. I want to ensure, because we did a merger and it's over, and I want to make sure that they are all clamped. This is why I usually don't clamp things but there, but we're going to clamp it there. And by the way, that should have been out there. We're clamping this, and so right. So well, this is where we would do the whole dilate thing. So or erode. So we're doing dilate, D-I-L, dilate, and this is where we would say, okay, shrink it down to get rid of those the bits on the side, and then we want to duplicate that. Actually, you know what? I think I want to, let me just see something here. How can we do this with, no, we're going to do that first. All right. And then we're going to tab, dilate, tab, dilate, and go in the opposite direction to get rid of the white bits there, or the black bits, pixels, and hopefully we have no black pixels. And then we want to, you know, get it back. So what we're going to do with this, take these two, and I'm going to actually merge it back with this. I'm going to erode it back down. So I'm going to dilate this back down. Dilate that back down. Actually, wait a minute. Can we just do it with this? No, we couldn't. We need that. We'll bring this back down. We're just going to bring this back down so it's in a negative. Uh-oh. We can see over here that we had a problem. This isn't quite right. So we need to, I think, nope, that wasn't the one. We want that -8. Let's take this to -2. Nope. Wait. What? Dilate 1. 0. That's weird. Wait a minute. Well, that is weird. We didn't need this, it turns out. Huh. Okay. Because apparently that was enough to... Oh, but we do need it. Oh, no, we do need it. We need that to get rid of... Huh. Nope, we need to... Alright, we need to subtract that. And then we need to take this up big enough. That's weird. Okay. Alright, something wonky is going on here. I don't want to... 5. We got that. Oh, there we go. -8. There we go. Alright, it's working. I must have had the wrong one selected when I did that. Alright, the initial one. So there we go. Because that's eliminated the side glitch over here. We've got a nice clean mask going around. This is our original. This is this. Alright, so what are we going to do? The first thing we want to do is we want to make this big enough to get rid of that blip there. Alright, I want to get rid of that while retaining those things. So this has to be, what I'm going to do is do a merge. No, wrong spot. Beep. Doesn't matter. We're going to merge. We're going to subtract the new result from the old. Alright, so this is the original and this is the new one. Alright, so what I want to do is, let me think about this. Right, what I actually want to do first is keep this smaller than the other. So we're going to bring this up. Wait a minute, it is smaller. Okay, so right now this is bigger than this. All right, but this is bigger than the holes in the inside. So what that does is that gives us a clean inside mask. Uh-oh, almost clean. What's going on there? It's doing it again. 9, 8. What happened there? Hold on. There we go. No. No. This dilate we want to be bigger. There we go. 5, 6. All right, there we go. That's where the problem was. That wasn't quite right. There we go. All right, is that bigger than that? Yes. So we're taking our original alpha here, and we're subtracting it, or we're adding it to, after we did all that, to preserve our original outline. So the difference between these two is that wee bitty dot. And so now, what we should have to, all we should have to do is maybe, if everything works right, we could, I'm just thinking about the best way to deal with this. Let me think for a moment. I think I want to take this now and dilate it one more time. Oops, not disable. Tab dilate. DRL. What's our time? We've been going for a while. All right, we want that there. We want this here. What we're trying to do, what I want to do here is we're going to do another from. Oops. I just did a fit, by the way. We want to put a merge. This. I'm going to take this and I'm going to say A. I'm going to subtract A. No, we're going to say, hold on. We want to take B, subtract A from it. So, why do we want to do that? We want to say the min here. No, we want to do the difference, right? Is it the difference? Yes, I want to do the difference between the two. All right. So what this is doing is it's looking at the difference between each of these sources. So this is smaller than this, and what we're going to do is take this and make it bigger than that, so that when the difference will be outside of it, and we can use that to eliminate that extra little dot. All right. So we'll take this and we're just going to increase this until it zeroes out basically and goes slightly beyond it. I have a black spot there, so I don't trust it. I'm going to take it at 1 dot more, and there we go. All right, that should be a complete external mask, including that extra little bit right there, that we can use to remove that bit from the ultimate mask. All right, let's do a merger here. Take that one more time, and we're going to take this, the result of that. We're going to go here, and we're going to say, I want to take and subtract A from B. So I go from, and that should, if everything worked right, the outside of this should be the same as the outside of this, but this is a perfect, clean outside mask of our original thing with no anti-aliasing. Admittedly, we haven't anti-aliased it, but we have something here that is more or less a perfect shape, or as close to perfect an outline of our original mask with those issues. So why do we want that? Well, we want to apply this to our original image. Let's go back here. Oh yes, and we want to clamp that, by the way, because we've been doing so many merges. The problem with merge nodes is if you do enough froms into, you know, froms and subtractions and so forth, eventually something could be negative black, way past black, and we wouldn't know it because it's black visually. So that's where the clamp node comes in. So we just do want to put a clamp node, C-L-A-M-P, in there, and we're going to put the clamp there. That way it's that. And then what we're going to do is we want to say to this, we want to take and use this alpha. Oh, you can see there's the problem. There's a problem. We needed to clamp this long before this point. So that clamp node, as we can see, is causing issues. Holy moly, is it causing issues. All right, let's see. That's interesting. Wait a minute. Is that... no, that's not our alpha. That was just... okay, that was just because we were viewing the color channels. Okay, we're good. I was getting nervous for a minute. All right, so just so you know, the alpha, the color channels have blobbies, and it doesn't matter because we're not interested in them. So what we're going to be doing is taking the alpha channel and putting it into the alpha channel that we've got here, this alpha channel, and we're putting it into these two, using it as the source for how the despill is applying over our original image. All right. And what that hopefully will do, and actually I think we may want to reverse these. Well, you know what? We can always invert it in the merge. Doesn't matter. All right, so here we go. All right, so currently it's wrong. We need to invert the mask because what we wanted is the green on the inside. All right, so there's our despill, or there's our original color image, but with a very hard edge, and we can see the green where the despill is supposed to be applying, and you can see once it drops off, there's the despill applying on the very outer edge. So what we want to do now is soften up the edge of this clamp, all right, with a blur, or all right, and we could erode this, or we could blur it. We'll probably do. Let's use an erode smooth at this point. So we're going to take this clamp node here. We're going to do an erode smooth. E-R-O-D-E. Erode smooth. There we go. Which basically will work. It'll do a combination when we go back here to the alpha channel. We want to make sure it's working on the alpha. Whoops, wait a minute. We want to make sure the erode smooth is working on the alpha, not the clamp node. All right. When we stop increasing this in, we can see that we want to just drop the exponent of the erode smooth down a bit so that it's nice and soft like 1. And then we'll go back in over, whoops, to this. And what we ought to start seeing is at the edge of our thing, as we erode this in, hopefully, if everything works right, and we erode this in enough, we can see we're eating away that green edge just a bit. And I think we may be just this may be too soft at exponent 1. So let's try exponent 2 and drop this back down. We eroded too much. There's our thing back in, and at 4 looks like we eroded just enough so that we wind up with this nice edge mask. And all right, here we go. This is where it becomes a problem. So right now what's happening is we're starting to see that transition point from our original image to the despill right here. We're getting, it's soft, but it's not soft enough. So we will have to blur this a little bit in order to get this to really transition smoothly. So after this we want to just chuck in a blur, B-L-U-R, and that is not actually below it, it's up it, where the mask is, this chain is going up versus down, which is a little weird. But what we're going to do is just soften that enough so that when we erode this in, probably going to erode this in a smidge more, we want to make it so that that blur on that edge looks nice and natural, so that there's a nice, smooth, gradual transition in, and it doesn't look too hard. And hopefully if we do everything just right, we'll wind up with a pretty decent mask or pretty decent color image. We have all our green bits, even on the edge, you know, we're losing a little green over here, but it's not that noticeable. I don't think it's going to cause too much of a problem. I hope. We can always pull this out if it does start to cause an issue, and it is going to cause an issue, or it is going to cause an issue on, or may, I should say, cause an issue to the alpha channel, because that alpha channel, well, we're not actually doing anything. That's right, we're not doing anything to the alpha channel. This is what we've got. This is how it's being applied, but we need to now, the question is do we want to use our original alpha channel with this, or do we want to use the new alpha channel that we've been working with, this nice bright white one here? Let's look at it back here. Do we want to use this alpha channel with it? In my opinion, this is probably going to wind up with a more successful, or something along these lines. We may want to take it further back down and refine it differently, but this may produce a better overall edge, or, you know, mask for this than our original thing. And remind you, this is all about salvaging this Chromakey and getting it to produce something that's usable for us. We want to use it. So here's that shuffle node that we had. So we said that that has to come from our alpha, and I'm going to right now say that our alpha is this blur node right here, because that's the last point that that alpha went in. And then we want to take the result of that and pull it in here like so. So I think we wind up with that. So A is the alpha, B is the color. So if we go in here and look at it, there we go. That should be what our final result looks like. Which, if we put a merge node over here connected up to that background, like that, and hopefully to that shuffle node over there, go over to this, stop viewing the alpha, and look at it, we start seeing, okay, so we've got some problems here. We clearly have a clamp issue going on here. This blur, these things, it needs to be clamped somewhere along the lines in here. So, which is, I think that's what's causing that issue. So let's put, I think it is. It could be that the blur is just going all over the edge too far, and it's causing an issue. So let's clamp, or C-L-A-M-P, clamp node. We want the clamp node. We're going to clamp that just to be on the safe side, and we're going to clamp that. And it doesn't look like it changed. So, oh, because we didn't, wait a minute. What the heck is going on here? Oh, we didn't clamp the two things. We wanted to clamp that and make sure that the clamp is applying to everything. There we go. There we go. And back over to here. Off. Wait a minute. Something's wrong. Something is very wrong. All right. What's going on here? Something is wrong. B. B is our background. We got them reversed. Oops. The shuffle node, that should be going up there. This should be going there. There we go. That's right. And it does not look like we needed to clamp those, although I selected the two things. Select. Didn't want to hit caps lock. Let's deselect those. Yeah, those aren't doing, the clamps aren't doing anything. So this is clearly an issue of that blur node is too much. Let's pull that back. Take a look. So there's a thing. What we would want to do is over here create a new version. We would want to refine this over here for our alpha. This point. We're coming off of this here. This is where we want to refine our alpha channel and, you know, work with. Maybe what we want to do is subtract our original alpha from this, or a bit of it. And let me just think about how one might go about doing that. We could use this mask. Where is it? This one right here to be the hair trim mask potentially, if we expand it. What we could do here. I know we're running long. This is a long episode. But we want to do a dilate over here. So I'm going to put a dilate. This our dilate. I'm going to put that here. Select that. Alright. We're going to view our alpha only so that we can see the alpha. And what we're going to do for this one is we're going to make it bigger. Alright. And the reason we're making this bigger is we want this to be our... Do we want to do that here? You know what? I don't think I do want to do that here. I think I want to do that here, so that I'm basically, what this is doing is making the overall outside of it bigger, the outside edge past her hair. Sorry, I'm pointing at the wrong screen. Let's get off of, whoops, let's go back here. So I want to go back to this, where it's not on her. What I want to do is make it so that it goes out past this edge point, this fringe over here, and we have more than that. And actually, oh, that's because it's a color. That's not a problem. We can go out past the edge of that fringe, and we're going to mask that away by doing basically the same thing we did here, which is going to subtract the original edge from this. So we just take the same thing, put the difference here, doesn't matter which goes in where, because it's the result, it gives the same result. So there's the new one. So there's that one, and then there's this one. Remember, this one is used to get rid of the dot, and this one, although technically now that I'm thinking about it, we could have done it with either of these. This would have worked just as well. Hey, wait a minute. We have a problem over here. Oh, no. That was weird. The B input just had disappeared from being connected temporarily. Anyway, I'm just realizing this is redundant. We don't need this. We can make this bigger because we're doing a difference over here. So let's go over to this and make this. What did we have this? We set this up to 8. So this 5. Let's add another 12 to it. So, and it does the same. Oh, wait, no. I take it back. We do want it to go to 8. Nope. We want it. It was 5. We do want to, because otherwise it, that's right. I forgot about that. So we'll set that to 5. Even 6. 6 is good. Alright, we do need these. I was wrong. I was wrong. Mark that in your notebooks. Alright, so we can... it doesn't matter. We can just use either one of these to get... No, we can't. We want that. We want the difference of that. Alright, so we're taking the difference of the original outside... Uh-oh. No, we're not. We're going to take the... It figures. It really does. Alright, what is going on here? That is clamped. This has that. when we want that. We want that is what we want. We want to subtract that to take the difference of that. There we go. All right. I was on the wrong node. So we wanted the difference of that without everything else so that we can create this outer edge that we can use to extend for hair purposes and do more with. And then we're going to use that here, I think, to drive that. Which could, in theory, if everything worked right, let's see how, oh, excuse me. All right, so we can see a problem. Whoa, we can see a real serious problem. What is going on here? You know what? I think we needed to grab it after it was clamped. No? Huh. Huh. That is odd. Oh, oops, no. Wait a minute. We want that. We don't want that. We want that mixed with the... You know what? We don't want the difference between the two. I actually think we just want that. I don't even know. I'm realizing we could... Oh, wait a minute. Now what's going on? We do want the difference. Because... Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the phone, everybody. Let me just look at this for a minute here. Go oh no, we can just use that. Alright, so that's fine. Alright, never mind. We're going to take this directly into the clamp node, which gives us our outer edge. It takes it just beyond. What we want is it to be beyond the edge so that we have more to work with, so that we can pull in further, and our alpha will... That's, whoops, that's why. Let's go back here, boom, and there we go. So now we're seeing our gray image, and this is there, and now we have our despill eating in. Let's hope erode smooth between erode smooth. All right, so we can do a gross adjustment with this dilate here. This will basically pull in and out this edge here. Oh, wait a minute. Reset that. Wait. Reset to default. All right. This dilate here. If we... That's weird. If we set this... We can pull this, refine this out here if we need to. It doesn't matter how we go about that. This allows us to refine it, the hard edge, and then this erode smooth here will allow us to pull this, as long as we have it set to work off of the alpha channel, and we adjust the smoothness, we will be eroding back in on it. So right now this is bad because it's very hard edged. So what, in my opinion, we need to do is pull this, or the dilate back in a little bit there, and then take this erode smooth back down a little bit so that it's not as aggressive as it was. Let's take that erode smooth down to 1. There we go. Size. Let's take this back. That's interesting. If we take this back right there. I'm just looking at this, trying to figure out, can we get this to a level where, ooh, that's actually, uh-oh. Is that in there? No. Yes. Why is that in there? That shouldn't be in there. Why do we have that in there? Why do we have a bluebee? We should not have any such thing in our final comp. We can see there's this gray bit here and that right there are eating into it. It's, well, we're going to say that we've perfected this because I don't want to dwell on this anymore. Let's just say you've seen the methodology behind getting this to this point. I would say that you want to refine this a little bit more. We have work with the blurs, work with, you know, transitioning that alpha. Oh, yes, we want to add a blur after this. Right, we want to blur this a smidge to like we were before. Was this getting used? No, actually, wait a minute. Do we want to blur that? Do we want to blur that? I think we may want to erode this a bit more. So, like to there. And then we want to blur this a bit more. Soften that edge up a bit so that it looks more like that. Now, you're saying to yourself, but Bill, it's very obvious. Here's why it's not going to be obvious. This is why we're not going to worry about it too much. Because back over here, this is where we've merged our final comp. We're going to say this is good enough. We're going to take this, the result of this, and we're going to, at this point, we're going to put in that light wrap I told you about. And so we're going to hit here and we're going to type in light wrap. And there's light wrap. We had done this before, and it's saying it's given us a black result because we want to take the B and the A. B has to go to our background, and then A goes to our foreground. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to adjust this. Right now the intensity is 0, but we want to bring the light wrap back up a bit. All right. And what this is going to do is it's going to blend that in over what was there, and we wind up with something that hopefully looks a lot more like it actually belongs and like she's integrated. Let's look at before and after. All right. So if we disable this, this is her comped over this gray background, as if that gray background was actually behind her. But in reality, that gray background is so bright, it's going to be reflecting onto her. So when we do this, what this has done is it's caused the gray to look like it is reflecting onto her. So the sides of her blend into it better, and she looks integrated into the scene. All right, and that's if we used that as our background. That's only if we use the solid as our background. Let's do something a little more interesting, yet still not very useful or overly useful. Let's go into our image node and do a color bars, and just take a color bar and plug that in there and put that in the back. And let's look at it here. Now, if we look at this, she's despilling correctly into this. And you'll notice, by the way, we get nice little bits of hair over there. This is actually a very good, this is for the most part a pretty darn good key. It's not perfect. It's a little glowy right there, which is probably means it needs to be pulled in just a smidge more on the, probably this red smooth needs to go one more notch in. Or not. Maybe it needs to go a notch out. Nope, that's too far right there. That looks to be pretty good. We'll keep that there. Anyway, that gets us a pretty good looking alpha right there, or pretty good looking image. And the goal behind this is you raise it until the background, it looks like the character who's sitting in front of whatever it is feels like they're sitting in front of it. It's like they're actually part of it. That's the way I call this a visual check. Does it look like she's actually sitting in front of it? And the way you do that is you simply just take your light wrap, set her, let's fill her. Let's actually make this full screen so we can see this better. I have, just so you know, oops, I thought I had, we have the light wrap selected. So we're going to just enable and disable that. And what that's going to do is turn it on and off. So we're going to have a full screen. And this is before the light wrap, and this is after. And the question is, does it look like she's blend, or she's part of the background, or the background's actually behind her, without looking like it's reflecting off of her completely. And the answer is at this point, hair is shiny, so hair should have it. So I think this is actually looking, you know, this is looking quite acceptable as a, you know, as a key. Is it a perfect key? No, we could work on this key, you know, a lot more. The goal behind this was not to, again, was not to make it necessarily a perfect key, because you saw the methods. We went through whittle and refine, which we would do here. We just sit there and go, how can I pull out the bit that I want to add to it? How can I, you know, and refine our images using, you know, various bits to get the part. And if a piece is missing, you have to add it and subtract it until you get the mask that you want. It doesn't matter what your background is. This works on almost anything, as long as you can isolate your main character. You may have to make dozens of masks in a situation where you have different things, but it's all about whittling, refining, and then to get your core mask, to get your core image, your core outline of whatever it is you want to be keying, and then going through the process of refining it into so that it actually functions. This is so low resolution, by the way, because if we actually look at this at a 1:1 scale, whoops, oh right, it's control 1. This is only a 587 by 364 image, which means we really don't have a heck of a lot to work with. But we did manage to pull out a slightly better key, in my opinion, this way than we would have with the other. Although we do still have this bit over here, and I'm not sure why we have that bobbly over there. That shouldn't be there. I could have sworn I had removed it. But I'm not going to worry too much about it. I have a feeling we may be doing a double mask somewhere, and I'm not positive where, or something got merged in the wrong place or in the wrong order. But anyway, if we had done this right, that would not be there, and I have a feeling just something over here did not. Wait a minute. What? Oh, there's why. It wasn't coming from the right point, I think. You want that to come from, yeah. You want that to be there, that to be there. No. Wait a minute. What we want to do is take that and dilate it. And so we'd actually, there's where the problem, I think, lied. No? Alright, why is that happening? I really won't. This is going to drive me batty. Well, we're way too close to the 2 hour mark. The hour and a half mark. So we're going to call it, whoops, we're going to call it here. We're going to say, take this and we're going to save our project. New project revision. I've already got it open. This was our second take at this. So there we go. We have fixed it, and we've more or less fixed it so that instead of getting a crummy result from our crummy or being stuck, I should say, with unusable basically information from our Chromakey node, or winding up with something that looks like this, we end up with something that looks like this, which is what is a more or less a final mask. You know, and it's derived from that one single key node, and by splitting off those various bits in the way that we did. And this is what the goal of today was, really to do that, to show that we could pull those bits off. And of course we didn't like the alpha channel, so we built our own, and that's what all this crud down here is, because honestly that alpha channel stunk. It's just the way it is. All right. So, thanks for watching and keep on Natroning.